and welcome. We'll get started in just a moment. Hello and welcome. Welcome to this chair and standing yoga practice with Corktown Health. We're going to start seated today, so just get comfortable in a chair. Just taking a moment now to sit tall. Welcome to this practice to explore our joy and our purpose. I'm Caitlin Brown of Mindful Detroit. Start seated, however is most comfortable for you. It could be sitting up tall in a chair, or it might be sitting on the floor, maybe on a cushion, or with your back against the wall. Your legs could be crossed or stretched out in front of you. Just taking a few moments to settle in, like wiggling, stretching, whatever feels good. So in my chair, I'm uncrossing my legs, and I'm sitting up nice and tall, away from the back of my chair, if that's comfortable for you. And we're going to begin with a mudra, Hansi mudra. This mudra involves bringing the first finger, middle finger, and ring finger together with the thumb, and then just the pinky finger sticks out, and then bringing the backs of your hands to your thighs or your knees. So the first three fingers and the thumb are touching, the pinky finger is sticking out. So Hansi is a word that means smile or laughter in Sanskrit, and mudra means seal or a hand position. So there's many different mudras that we use in yoga and with meditation. A very common one is bringing just the first finger and the thumb together. And this mudra, meaning laughter or smile, is to help us connect with what brings a smile to our face, with what brings us joy. So take a moment, maybe closing your eyes or just gazing away from the screen softly. Let a soft smile come to your face. Let your temples relax, your jaw relax, your shoulders draw down. What brings you joy? Take a moment just to think about this. If you find your mind starts wandering off on a tangent, very gently and with compassion, come back to that question. What brings you joy? That feeling totally present, giddy, childlike, right? Remember when you were little and just that awe, that curiosity, that pure enthusiasm. Just taking a moment. And it can be big or small. It can be the little things in our everyday. It can be people, it can be activities, it can be the sunlight. And now taking a moment to think about how can you bring more of that joy into your life this week. And you may have to get creative with this. Perhaps you have a very busy schedule. Perhaps travel is one thing that brings you joy, but you can't necessarily hop on a plane tomorrow and go around the world. So what could you do with travel or exploration, maybe in your own community, right? Could you take a walk around your neighborhood using a new route, or visit a new place in your city that you've never been to before? Taking a few more moments thinking about how you can begin to bring more joy into your week. You can also think creatively about things that you're already doing, and can you look at them with a new perspective? Can you pause and appreciate the sunlight? Even if you're doing a chore, like raking the leaves, mowing the lawn, shoveling snow, whatever it might be, and it could feel like a burden or a frustration or a chore, but where can you find the joy in that? If part of your joy is being with nature, appreciating the sunshine, even as we're doing other things, can we try to be present as we're raking leaves and feel the sun on our cheeks? So I invite you, as you move through your day today and through the rest of your week, to think about these little moments where we could bring in more joy. And think about all the choices that we make throughout our day. And can we make choices that align with what brings us joy? Choices that help us invite more joy into our lives. Continue to let that small smile just spread on your face, not forcing it, just letting the corners of your mouth slightly turn up. Notice your breath here. Following it in and down. And when you're ready, I invite you to release the mudra, wiggle your fingers, and then place one or both hands over your heart. Connecting in with what brings your heart joy. What makes you laugh? What makes you smile? And take a moment to create a sankalpa. Sankalpa is a word that means resolve or heartfelt desire. Creating a resolve or heartfelt desire around your joy. And then when you're ready, slowly release your hands down. Blink open your eyes if they were closed. And I invite you to use this sankalpa, this resolve, throughout your day today and your week ahead. Just a simple and gentle reminder to move towards your joy. So now I invite you to lengthen and deepen your breath. If you started to slouch or round forward, recommit yourself to sitting tall, shoulders relaxing down, back growing tall. If you can, breathing in and out through your nose. Finding a rhythm of breath that feels easeful, that makes you smile, that brings you joy. So not something that feels forced or that feels like you should be doing it a certain way. So trying not to strain or hold your breath, finding a fuller, deeper breath that is not going too far, finding that right amount of lengthening for you. And today we're going to work with movements that bring us joy, that feel good in our body. And that is really individualized. So it's very introspective. I invite you to really turn inward to think about and notice what your body is feeling. What are the sensations in your body and what feels best for you? So we'll start to explore some movement or asana with an inhale and lifting our arms up. Notice how this feels in your shoulders and the sides of your body. If this doesn't feel good in your shoulders, maybe you bring your arms wider. So when we lift our arms up, our shoulders naturally come up. They need to do that to support the movement. But if it feels really, really tight or like your shoulders are way up by your ears, like this, can you create a little space? Can you lengthen your neck up? Reach your ears up. And then from here, take one more inhale to really reach through your fingertips. And then with your exhale, bring your right arm down and reach up and then over with your left. Explore where you want to bring your gaze, your drishti in Sanskrit. Do you want your drishti forward? Do you want it up towards your top hand? Do you want it down towards your right leg and arm? Check in with your body. What feels best for you? One more breath here. And then with your next inhale, lift both arms up again. Reach up and lengthen through your fingertips. Exhale, left arm down, reach up and then over with your right, taking the lateral stretch on the other side. Notice if there's anywhere in the body that might be holding tension. Can you soften through your left shoulder or your jaws, your toes? Find what feels most comfortable for your neck. One more breath. Next, inhale, lift both arms up again. Exhale, arms down, side out. Letting your arms rest back on your legs. So we're going to do that again, moving with our breath. Now, just one breath, one movement. And when we exhale and bring our hands down and sigh it out, I invite you to think about something that is no longer serving you. Maybe something that's getting in the way of you practicing your joy or feeling connected to your joy. And just imagine with that exhale, with that sigh, you're releasing it out of your body, out of your mind. Not forcing it, we don't want to just like violently throw it out, but just like letting it go with gentleness and compassion. So take a moment to sit tall again, and then when you're ready with your inhale, bring your arms up. With your exhale, bring your right arm down and reach up and over with the left. With your inhale, bring both arms up. Exhale, left arm down, reach up and over with the right. Inhale up. Think of what you want to let go of, and exhale, let that go. Let's do that one more time, and I'm going to invite a variation for the side stretch if you want to try it. But again, connecting with your body and how it feels. If this doesn't feel good, you could try the first version again, or you can always skip it. If your shoulders are like, I need a break, maybe you just exhale through the mouth with the sigh, but skip the arm movements. So if it feels right for you, with your inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, gently hold the left wrist and reach up and over to the right. Inhale, come up. Gently hold the right wrist, reach up and over to the left. Inhale, reaching up, maybe gazing up, opening your heart. Exhale, let it go. Taking a moment, perhaps closing your eyes. And if you need to, if something maybe still is feeling stuck or a thought you're ruminating, worrying about, you could take a few more sighs out. It could be nice to do this with some shoulder shrugs, for instance. So inhaling the shoulders up, exhale, letting it go with a sigh, letting go of tension in the body and stress. So inhaling again, and this time making fists with your hands. Exhale, let it go. Release your fingers and your shoulders. One last time. Inhale up. Exhale. Letting go of anything that feels stuck, anything that's no longer serving you. Let's make some circles with our torso now. And again, you could do this seated in a chair, or you could be seated on the floor for these movements. So with your inhale, begin to bring your chest forward, pick one direction, and then exhale and round back, making a circle. Inhale forward, exhale back. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels okay. And just explore sensation in your body. Notice how it changes as the movement changes. One more in this direction. And then the next time that you come back to the front, we're going to switch direction. Inhaling, chest forward, pelvis tilts forward. Exhale, dropping the chin down, drawing the navel in, rounding back. And listen to your body. Listen to your breath. If your breath is getting shallow, or you're holding your breath, that's a sign to maybe change what you're doing in the body, maybe take a break. You know, you could always make your circles really big. You could go really slow or faster if that felt good, right? One more. And slowly coming back up to center. Having your hands on your knees now, we'll move through a few rounds of seated cat and cow. With your inhale, bring your chest forward, gaze up. Exhale, draw the chin to the chest, round back. So similar movements, but rather than circling, now we're just going forward and back. Trying to link the movement with your breath. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, round, draw in. Noticing this movement from your pelvis all the way up to your neck. Maybe closing your eyes to turn inward a little more. One more round. After your next exhale, just coming back to sitting nice and tall. So let's take a seated twist next. Inhaling your arms up. Exhale, bring your left hand to your right knee and your right hand behind you. That might be on the floor if you're sitting on the ground, or the back of your chair. And see where it feels best to turn your head. Do you gaze behind you over your right shoulder? Do you gaze to the side, or do you gaze more forward and take a smaller twist? See what feels best for your spine. Make sure you can still maintain a deep, even breath. Notice if your chin is dropping down. Can you keep your chin lifted parallel with the ground? So it's not way up in the sky, but roughly parallel with the ground. One more breath. And then inhale when you're ready. Take your time, lift back up, come through center. Exhale to the other side. And know that this side could be really different. So find what you need, make any adjustments. If you notice that your shoulders are hunching way up towards your ears, can you settle your shoulders slowly down? Think about lengthening your neck. Chin parallel to the floor. Letting a soft smile come to your lips. One more breath. And then inhale and come up. Exhale, bring your hands down to heart center. So this is another mudra. Anjali mudra, so your thumbs are at your sternum. And you could also bring your hands back to your heart if you wanted to do that as well, either one. Take a moment to close the eyes or gaze down and connect again with your sankalpa, your heartfelt desire for joy. What is it that your heart is longing for? What brings your heart joy? And then when you're ready, slowly bringing your hands down. We're going to come to standing now. So taking your time, moving slowly. If you're using a chair, move it off to the side. And make sure that you have space all around you, that you're not going to hit anything. Next, we're going to do some breath work, pranayama, a specific technique called breath of joy. So bring your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart. Have your knees a little bit soft. And I'm going to show a couple different versions. So if you haven't done this before and you want to watch me first, I'll demonstrate it, talk it through, and then we can do it together. So it involves a 3-part inhale along with arm movements. So I'm inhaling my arms out forward, inhaling my arms out to the sides, and then up. And one long exhale where 2 options. One is that I fold forward, my knees are soft, my arms sweep back, and then I'll come up and do that again. Inhale, 3 parts. And then the second option is just to exhale and bring the hands down without folding. So if you're taking care of your low back or you tend to get dizzy, any other health conditions where you wouldn't want to fold forward, you can just do it with bringing your arms down. And then the breath is a little bit different than what we've been doing. The inhale is through the nose, but it's more of a sniffing breath. So it's like so you're inhaling 1/3 of the air, 2/3 of the air, and then fully. And the exhale is a long exhale out through the mouth, a really big sigh, a big so a big letting it go. Like letting go if there's anything left that's not serving you, that's feeling stuck, really letting that go with a big and a smile on your face. So again, not forcing it out violently, but just, hey, I don't need you anymore, I'm letting you go. And with your inhale, you can imagine that you're bringing in joy through those sniffs of air in, invigorating. And so this breath is pretty energizing. So it's great if you're feeling tired, sluggish, down, depressed. However, if you're feeling very anxious, like you might be having, have a panic attack, or if you're dealing with mania right now or psychosis, this breath is not recommended because it can be too activating, too invigorating. So instead, I invite you to do that breath we did earlier, where you're just inhaling your arms up and exhaling them down. And you could do that seated as well, if that's better for you. And if it's too much to stand and do this, you could also do breath of joy sitting in a chair. So let's take a breath in and out to prepare. And then let's begin. One last one. Let your arms just come by your sides. Bring your feet back underneath your hips. And we're going to find mountain pose for a moment. Taking a moment just to tune in to how you're feeling. You might find a space on the wall that's something not moving, that you can focus your gaze gently, using your drishti, your gaze point. Maybe you close your eyes, but if that feels like dizzying, just softly focus your gaze. And just check in with how the energy feels in your body. This breath does tend to bring energy upward, towards the heart, towards the head. It's normal to feel a little tingly, a little more awake. Notice sensation in your face, in your hands, bringing a soft smile to your lips. And sometimes we might feel too invigorated after this breath or like it's anxiety provoking. So if that's the case, let's focus a few moments on some grounding. So we're going to inhale up through our left foot. Imagine you're breathing up through the floor, up the left leg, the left side of the body, all the way up to the top of your head. And then exhale down the right side, from the top of your head, down the right side of your body, all the way down to the right foot. Do this a couple more times. Inhale up from the left sole of the foot, all the way up through the left side of the body to the top of the head. And then exhale from the top of the head down the right side of the body, all the way down through the right sole of the foot. So next we're going to find chair pose. And I know you might say, hey, I was just sitting in a chair. Why do I need to do chair pose? But this is a great one for strengthening the legs. And it is also very grounding. So a couple of options. You could have your feet about hip distance apart, knees pointing forward. Or you could have your feet together, big toes, the side of the big toes touching, heels slightly apart. Either way, find what feels best for your body, and maybe you try it both ways. And then bend your knees and lift your arms up alongside your ears. So I'll show you from the side. Finding your version of chair, Utkatasana. So it could be a small chair, more upright, or maybe you sink your hips down and back. Still maintaining that deep, even breath. One more deep breath here. And of course, if this doesn't feel good for your body, stop at any time. And then we're going to come up, straightening our legs, keep our arms lifted, and take a slight standing back bend here. Lifting our heart, opening our throat. And then with your exhale, bring your hands down through heart center using Anjali Mudra again. Anjali Mudra is a gesture of reverence, of honor. So honoring ourselves, honoring our heart and what it needs. So let's try a little bit more with chair pose, if that feels okay for you. If you're taking care of your knees, for example, if any of this doesn't feel right, you could do this in a chair, actually sitting in a chair. So I'll show this next part both sitting in a chair and standing. This would be best to do in a chair without arms, if possible. So we're going to come back to chair, lifting our arms up alongside our ears. And we're going to take a twist from chair, moving dynamically with our breath. With your next exhale, bring your right arm out and back, left arm forward, gazing back behind you. Inhale, lift up back to your chair, still bending your knees if you're standing. Exhale, left arm back, gaze back, open, up to the side. Inhale, back to center. And let's come back up to standing, or just bring our hands to heart center seated. Just taking a break from our chair. I'll show it, we're going to do it again, and I'll show it standing now. So take a moment just to shake it out, wiggle around. So we're kind of holding static, and we don't want to get too fatigued. We want to make sure that we're feeling loose in our body. We want this to bring us joy. We don't want to feel like, oh, I have to do my yoga perfectly and it has to be really intense and tight, right? We want to find softness and looseness in our practice as well. So I'll show you from the side. For this version, I'm going to have my feet and my knees about hip distance apart. But again, you could do it with legs together if you wanted. My arms are up. I'm going to inhale here. And then exhale, reach back. Open up to the side. Left arm reaches forward, right arm back. And then next inhale, I'm going to come up. Exhale to the other side. Let's do a couple more of these, either seated in a chair or just bending your knees, standing. Move with your breath. Go at your own pace, but listen to your body. What do you need? Take a break if you need to. See if it feels okay. Maybe do one more. And again, let's press to our feet, stand up tall, arms overhead. This time let's interlace our fingers, press the palms up, and lift our heart, smiling here. Exhale, bring your hands down. Great job, everyone. Again, let's just shake it out. So let's move on to some standing balance. And this is another area where sometimes we can get really intense and we're like gritting our teeth and trying to force ourselves to balance. But I invite you here to have fun with this, be playful, have patience with yourself. It's normal that you're going to wobble. We're all going to fall out of our poses from day to day, time to time. Have patience. And be careful when you're falling out. So try to keep that same focus as you might be wobbling out of the pose. So don't force yourself, right, to keep your leg lifted if you're falling out. Let your leg come down to catch you, right? Let your breath maintain its deep, even pace. So that will help you release tension in the body. If we're holding our breath and gritting our teeth, we're holding all this tension. And then if we fall, we might hurt ourselves. So we want to keep some softness in our body, some openness, and know that it's okay if we wobble or we come out of it, trying to move with control even as you might fall out of the pose. So let's begin to shift our weight over to our right leg. We're going to practice Brikshasana, tree pose, and our right leg is going to be our tree trunk. Hands will come to your hips to start. Lift just your left heel, and maybe you lift the left foot, and begin to make circles outward with your left knee. So we're just opening up your hip a little bit here. You can always keep the toes down, do the circles. And then we're going to take the left foot and place it somewhere along the right leg. So it could be with toes still staying down, and your left foot is alongside your right ankle. It might be a little higher, or it could come up to the thigh. You could use your hands to assist, but don't bring it right on the side of the kneecap because we don't want to push the knee sideways. And if you do bring it up high, notice if it's really pushing your hips off to the side, out to the right. Can you draw inward with your right glutes and your right hip? Press your foot against your leg and your leg against your foot. So maybe now you bring your hands to heart center or lift up the branches of your tree. Bring a smile to your face. Take a couple more breaths wherever you are, adjust if you need to. Still maintaining that deep, even breath. Smiling gently. And when you're ready, slowly coming down. Bringing the hands down through heart center, the left leg down, shake out your right leg. Thank your right leg for all the hard work it just did for holding you up. And now we're going to shift over to the left leg. Right knee bends, heel lifts, and do circles outward, either toes staying down, kind of tracing the floor, or maybe lifting the toes. Up to you. And when you feel ready, begin to place the foot alongside the left leg and with those knee circles we just did, we're trying to gently open the hip, externally rotate so that our knee is facing out to the side. And again, find where you need to be. And this side could be different. Maybe you go higher, maybe you stay lower. You can always use your chair for support if you need to. Your hands can always stay on your hips, or maybe they come to Anjali Mudra, or maybe you lift up the branches of your tree. And know that there's windy days, right? So the branches of your tree might sway in the wind. Have fun with it. Be playful. See if you can root down through your trunk, through your left foot, nice and strong through the left leg, and lengthen up through the torso, through the side body, up through the arms and the fingertips, the leaves of your tree. One more breath. And then slowly, when you're ready, coming out of the pose, moving with control as you transition out, and shake out the left ankle and leg. Again, any movements that feel good here, just to release. So now let's use our chair for a couple of poses. Let's find the back of our chair. You could also use the tabletop here or the wall. Bring your hands to the chair and walk away from it. Have your feet at least hip distance apart. It could feel good for your low back to have the feet wider. And then think about pulling your hips back and lengthening your spine. Your head might stay even with your arms, or maybe it feels okay to let your head release between your arms. Your knees can be soft. And breathe here. Breathe into your shoulders, your back, the backs of your legs. Continue to pull your hips back. One more breath. And then slowly soften the knees, gaze forward towards your chair or the wall, and walk up. So depending on the length, the height of the surface you were using, that might be like a chair, downward dog, Ardha Mukha, or more like a half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. So I was more like a half lift height. I'll do one more round showing it on the wall now if you want to try it, if you have wall space handy. For more of a down dog, I'm more at an angle and my hands would come higher than my shoulders. I'd walk away. Again, my feet are at least hip distance apart. I like to do it a little wider. And notice here, if you really tend to extend a lot in the low back and let the belly hang forward, can you draw the navel in a little bit, creating some stability in the core? Can you hug your arms in, your shoulders in, and rotate your upper arms outward? So pushing the hips back, breathing here. And then when you're ready, slowly lifting up, coming out. Shaking the body out again. And let's find a moment of stillness in Tadasana in mountain pose. So take a moment to lift all of your toes, spread them nice and wide, activate them, and then lower them back down. Engaging the muscles of the legs, the glutes, draw your navel in. Palms turning forward, shoulder blades are coming together on your back. Shoulders down, neck long, reaching the top of your head up. Breathing in and out here, deep and even, feeling the expansion in your chest and your belly as you inhale, and a slight contraction drawing in as you exhale. So inhale, you're filling the lungs with air, opening up. Exhale, drawing in. So let's do one more gentle twisting motion. And this one I like because it's very playful and childlike. I'm going to widen my stance again here and make sure there's nothing around me that I'm going to hit. And I'm going to let my arms just kind of sway side to side. As I'm doing this, I'm lifting my opposite heel. Going slow so I don't get dizzy. You could slow it down more. And so I like to call this empty coat sleeves. Like if you see a little kid who has their arms not in their coat sleeves and they're just letting their coat sleeves flop side to side. So just finding that playful, childlike joy here. And then very gradually, you don't want to stop abruptly with this. Begin to slow it down and make your movements smaller. We don't want to get dizzy, so we want to gradually slow down. And then begin to bring your feet back under your hips. Come back to your strong, stable mountain. Mountain is a great one to come to if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling spacey or upset or stressed. Root down through both feet. Feel your strength. Feel your stability. So now we're going to transition into a low lunge, which you could do either on the floor on a yoga mat or using a chair with no arms. So I'm going to show it first on the chair and then I will show it on the floor. So this is a great one for opening the front of the body and the hip flexors. So I'm going to sit sideways. I'm going to scoot over so my right glute and hip are coming off of the chair and bring my right leg back. So my knee is reaching down. My left knee is bent in front of me. I'm holding onto the back of the chair with my left hand for support. My right toes are tucked under. I'm reaching back. If it feels okay, you might begin to straighten your right leg and reach back through your heel. But if not, bend your knee, let your knee just point towards the floor. If you're really tall, it might touch the floor. Then from here, if it feels okay in your body and you feel stable, you might lift your arm up. Again, paying attention to sensation, see what you need. And lift your right arm up and maybe reach it over, taking a lateral stretch in this lunge, Anjaneyasana. And then come back up to Anjaneyasana with both arms lifted as an option. Now, if you feel too wobbly, you can keep one or both hands down. And then slowly coming out of the pose. So you could do the other side on the chair, or if you have space and you have a mat, you could do it on the ground. I suggest having some padding for underneath your knees. So I'm going to bring my right foot forward for the other side here. My left knee is down, and a couple of options. It could be down right underneath the hip, or you could scoot the knee back more, which will stretch the quad more and the hip flexor more. And we'll do that lateral side stretch here, reaching up with the left fingertips and then over. And again, you could do this seated in your chair as well. And then coming up to Anjaneyasana, maybe with both arms. If you're feeling playful and this would feel safe for your body, maybe you tuck your back toes under and you lift your back knee. So more balance here in Crescent Warrior. But find what feels right for your body. And then When you're ready, very slowly transition out of the pose with control. So we're going to make our way to seated now, either sitting on the floor or sitting in a chair. So again, the lunges are really great for opening the front of the body, opening the heart, opening the psoas, the quadricep muscles. So if you sit a lot, a great one to try either with or without the chair. So let's take a moment to sit tall if it's comfortable, sit away from the back of your chair. And we're going to do the arms up again in the exhale, sighing out like we did at the beginning. But this time I invite you, if it feels okay in your body, to fold forward, to bring your torso down to your legs, and maybe even bring your head down towards your knees and you reach your hands down towards your feet. Now, if you're taking care of your low back or any other reason why you might not want to fold forward, you could stay upright, just bring your arms down, or fold forward just a little bit. So from the side, maybe you're just at a slight angle coming forward. So listen to your body, find what feels right for you. So inhale, lift your arms up, gaze up, maybe a slight seated back bend here. Exhale, side out and fold. Hands could come to your knees or down your legs. You could round forward, or maybe you stay halfway, or you don't fold at all. Take a couple breaths wherever feels best for you. Tune into sensation in your body. What is the most joyful movement for you right now? And then when you're ready, with a long spine, so if you're folded forward more, come up about halfway. With a long spine, come up. And let's do that again. Inhaling up, bringing a smile to our lips. Exhale, release with the sine fold. Holding any amount that feels good for you. Perhaps closing your eyes, tuning inward. Again, if anything doesn't feel good, if it starts to hurt, there's sharp pains or aches, something doesn't feel right, come out of the pose or ease up a little bit. Check in with your intention, your sankalpa. Repeat it to yourself. And then if you're folded down more, come up about halfway. And then with your next inhale, lift your spine up nice and tall. Let's bring our feet wide now. So this one is also best done with a chair without arms. We're coming into a squat. And if you want to do it without the chair, couple versions you could try. You could do a high squat, like a goddess pose, and in a chair or on your feet, you could bring your elbows to bend like cactus arms. You could also, if it feels safe for your body, explore a lower squat, garland pose, malasana. Maybe your hands come to heart center, and your outer arms are pressed to the inner knees, and the knees are pressed to the arms. Either way. So again, you could be seated, you could be standing, you could be squatting low. Take one more breath. And then slowly release. Bring your hands to heart center. Sit tall either in your chair or just sit on the ground. Let's wrap up with the same mudra from the beginning, Hansi Mudra. So the first three fingers and the thumb come to touch, and just the pinky finger extends. The back of your hands come to your thighs. Letting a slight smile come to your lips. Follow your breath in and out. Again, this is a gesture for laughter, for smiling, and tuning in to your joy. What makes you smile? What makes you laugh? What gives you that exuberance, that zest for life, that enthusiasm, the awe and wonder like we had when we were a child? Can we tap into that today, tomorrow, every day? Take a moment now to release the mudra. Wiggle your fingers if you need to. Place one or both hands over the heart or in Anjali Mudra. Repeat your Sankalpa 3 times to yourself. Your heartfelt desire. What brings you joy? That joy and love within me sees and honors that same joy and love within you. Thank you.